Hey, I'm Shelby.
And I'm Courtney.
We're exploring our past
Looking forward to our future,
and living for the present, all
all while
while
learning how
how
to
to live
live
magic.
magically.
Hello.
Hey,
Big day for me over here.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, I went to the dentist
I am so proud of you.
at 7:30 in the morning.
Why are they open then?
I also don't know.
Like, I mean, that's very polite because, people have jobs and stuff, but like, no.
7:30, and I got so flustered when I made the appointment that I just agreed to it, and then I got off the phone and I was like, 7:30 in the morning?
I literally do that all the time. I'm like, yeah, I can make that appointment work. And it's like 20 minutes before I have to like be on the other side of town or something. You just like don't want to inconvenience them.
Exactly. 7:30. But I went to the dentist. All is well and good.
Proud.
Now, I actually, this is like really, this is a new dentist. I've never been there
Yep.
before. And I went because Reed, my brother-in-law, had gone there and like raved about them, said they were so nice. And then Kyle went there. And then this is crazy. Kyle had an appointment like the day after his mom died and
Uh,
like obviously didn't go. And he
yep.
called and was like, so sorry, I can't make it. Like my mom died. We get to the wake, and the dentist sent flowers.
Oh, I love
Is
that.
that like the nicest thing you've ever heard?
Oh,
So then I was like, okay, well, we have no choice. That's our family
yeah.
now, moving forward forever. And I
Oh,
went in there and I like mentioned that they did that, and she like genuinely knew who Reed and Kyle were. And she was like, "So you're married in Remillard?" And I was like, "Yes." And this is not their family dentist. Reed had gone there for the first time like this year. And
what?
yes. And they like she knew who they were. And I was like, you guys like sent flowers after my mother-in-law passed away. Like I can't even believe it. That was so nice. And she was like, of course, like she was so young, we couldn't even believe it. And like she had never
Oh,
like if that's not where like Lorraine's that was not like Lorraine's dentist. I just can't. Is that like the nicest thing you've ever heard?
literally the nicest thing I've ever heard. And not to make it about business, but like,
I
what
know.
a genius business move.
I know.
Because like you're loyal for life now.
Oh, well, like I after I went, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I was there for 2 hours, okay? Because I had to
Yeah.
get all of the x-rays, it was a whole thing. And I called Kyle on the way home and I said, I mean, not that we had any plans to move elsewhere, but I said,
Yeah.
we will never live like far away from this dentist. Like, this is our dentist for life. And he was like, no, for sure. They're so nice.
That is so cool. And also like the ultimate for a dentist because like nobody loves the dentist.
Okay, I'm not saying that I like loved my experience at the dentist. I'm just saying that
No, but
I
I'm
like
saying like
at least
it,
loved being in the presence of those people.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They took like what is usually for I mean, I throw up on the dentist as you know. So people literally have like big anxieties around
Yeah,
dentists. I'm not saying it's like your dream location now, but like at least it's not miserable.
exactly.
That's really cool.
It's in a literal house. Like you drive like through a neighborhood and it's like a house
Love
basically.
that. Love
So
it.
far. And I texted Kyle when I got there. I was like, I'm literally in like a house. And he's like, yeah, I know. And then you'll start to like learn the layout and it's like, oh, I'm getting my teeth pulled in the kitchen. It's like was a
Cool.
it's like a house that they made into a dentist. I don't
I
know.
love that.
That's my update on life
Well, just remind the people at home, you hadn't been to the dentist, not to call you out, but like in a long time, right?
in like so long, which I don't know if I brought this up last time. So I stopped going because I didn't have dental insurance.
Right?
And then I got on Kyle's insurance, so we have dental, and then it just literally took me this long to go, even though I've been on Kyle's for a long time.
Well,
And
haven't you only been on Kyle's for a year now?
no, I was on Kyle's for about 2 years because I was able to be on his because we like live together or whatever they call that.
We love the gays. Thank you for making that possible. Keep going.
What is that called?
Domestic partnership.
domestic partnership. So I was on his insurance for like a year before we got married. Anywho, and so even more reason I should have gone to the dentist and didn't. What was my point of saying this? Oh, because I have now since learned, like, even if you don't have dental insurance, one, the dentist will work with you, and like a cleaning
Yes.
is not that expensive. And if I
Right.
was just doing my routine cleanings, it would have been so much better than going to the dentist for 2 hours. So even if you don't have dental insurance, do not make that your excuse to not go to the dentist like I did.
Love to hear it. Did you have any like issues? Were they like, yeah, you have 97 cavities?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, yikes. Okay. So you have like
It's
follow-up appointments.
yeah, I have to like go get a filling, and then she wants to do like a whole like deep clean on my teeth because it's been so long. Like,
Oh.
it's like actually horrific, but here we are.
Well, good for you. You took the first step.
And I kind of like okay, I didn't like love my experience at the dentist, but I love how my teeth feel right now.
Oh, barf. I hate the dentist. I hate being there. I hate after the dentist. I hate thinking about it. No.
Well, anywho,
Well, good job. I'm proud of you.
thank you.
Big step into
Um,
the adult world.
yeah, yeah, you know.
I need to follow behind you. I'm just as bad. I'm not like shaming you. I have all the same problems. I probably haven't gone since I've been married in 2020. So, whoops.
It's like once you stop going, like I had a dentist for my whole life, and so then like once the appointment's made, I'll go. But then
Yep.
I stopped, and then it's
Another,
whole
yet
thing.
another great business lesson about, like I think this all the time when I get my hair done too. They always universally should book you with a follow-up appointment before you leave the building.
Which I think is probably why they do.
Right, because you
Most
remember, they remember all of it.
correct.
Yeah,
Like if
it's,
I
I
have,
totally,
it's harder for me to cancel the appointment than to just go.
right, right. You're like in the system, you have it scheduled out, it's just like part of your routine, whatever. If you have to think, who's my dentist? What does my insurance accept? How long is it going to take
Yeah,
for me to get in? Do I have to call and talk to an adult human? What are they
I
going to ask me? Will they be mean to me because I haven't been here? It's just like too much, and you go like, I'm not going to do it.
that's literally why I haven't gone in so long.
Yeah, same.
It's crazy. Anyways,
Well, good job. Do you have any other life updates?
no, I don't think
No.
so.
Okay.
I'll
Uh,
probably think halfway through this, you know?
should we touch quickly on? I think it's hilarious for me because I am like newly super Swifty, but not a sports person at all. However, yesterday you and I rode the full and complete emotional roller coaster that was Jason Kelsey's retirement.
Oh, it was so sad.
Like I had it literally on my phone. I was walking around listening to it. AJ was like, "What are you doing? Like, is that NPR? Like, what are you? Why are you listening to this?"
Yes. Kyle had a meeting and he comes upstairs and I'm crying on the couch and he's like, "What is going on?" And I was like, "Jason Kelsey retired."
Yeah,
It's just, I don't know if I've said this before, but I'm not really an emotional person. I don't cry like ever. I mean, I cry a lot more since having a child, but
yeah.
I'm just not like an emotional person. And I don't know why, but sports is what makes me cry all the time. Like,
That is hilarious.
Kyle has a video of me crying because Julian Edelman retired and I was watching a video and I like cried over it. I just think it's like there is a passion about sports.
Yeah,
And and even like my like watching my little brother play soccer and like knowing like it was his last game. Like I cried then too. I don't there's
did you play
something
sports?
I was a like I did competitive cheerleading my whole life.
Oh,
So,
right. Okay.
and I guess so maybe there is that, but I don't know. It's just like the passion that people have for sports. I don't know what makes me so emotional about it, but
No, I get it. I totally get it, and it's amazing to watch. It is amazing to be part of. I mean, it's the same argument for like that viral picture of Travis Kelsey like screaming in the coach's face. People
yeah,
like hate him for that, and I get it, but also my argument for that is like clearly if you hate him for that, you've never played on like a true not professional sports, but like a dedicated, like hardcore team.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's like two arguments to that conversation. There's one, he just has a lot of people looking up to him and he
Yep,
shouldn't
yes.
okay to yell in a coach's face or talk to a coach in that way. But then there is the other side of like he is so passionate about what he does. That's what happened. And he did come out and they had a whole conversation about this and him
Right.
and whatever. So is what it is now. But yeah, there's just like a passion in sports that
Yeah.
and for Jason Kelsey, going back to him retiring, he gave it was truly 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And you just have to think about it. He played football since sounded like from he was like in middle school until
Yeah.
now. And he is a grown man with like 3 kids. So his entire life basically has revolved around football.
In a way that nobody else could understand. Like a doctor or a entrepreneur, any other career, most other careers, you don't start careering at 10.
And no.
So it's probably a huge identity crisis situation
I
too.
hear, I hear that a lot. Maybe it was actually in his documentary that I watched on Amazon Prime where they really went into this. And it really makes sense is especially for like an NFL professional athlete. Like sure their season is from September until February if they're lucky, but all the prep work that goes into that. You
Yep.
live in football. That's all you do. And then
Yep.
just one, it could happen like in an injury, all of a sudden your career is cut. But even when
Yep.
you retire, you just go from like there's all this talk how professional athletes like go into like a deep depression because they
Yes.
literally lose who they are after they retire.
Yes. Which I could totally see happening.
So I think it must have been in that doc because they were like kind of trying to make a plan of like what his next career moves were going to be so that he's like staying busy when he's, after he retires. But
Smart.
yeah, anywho.
Well, lucky for him, it seems from the outside like he has a very supportive, wonderful marriage. He like loves his kids, which I think is hilarious that he has 2 girls.
3.
3 girls. But he on the whole seems like it's obviously going to be rough for him, but he has like all the makings of being okay.
Yeah, and they have their podcast, and like Travis is still playing football, so I'm sure he'll still be fully engulfed. Maybe he'll end up coaching, who knows? But
Yeah.
it was just
great.
a little speech. But speaking of, not speaking of, but the Kelsey Taylor Swift go hand in hand nowadays. So
Yep.
let's now bounce over to Taylor. And
Yep.
did you just see that?
I loved it. That was amazing.
Fireworks.
She's got an in with Apple.
Can we put it on record, our conversation that we had with KG
Yes.
on this? I feel like could get hate, but I also would love to hear other people's opinions. And there's just no chance that we're the ones that feel this way.
I'm so glad you're touching on this because I wanted to mention it too for the same reasons. Go ahead.
Okay. So Taylor made this big announcement over the weekend. Let's put fingers here. Big announcement.
Yeah.
Over the weekend.
Yeah.
She's done this now, this is the 4th time.
Yes.
She makes a whole ordeal out of it and just announces another variation of the album.
Yes.
That you then need to go purchase the entire album plus a song.
And like you have to pay, so she's done this over like a month now, and you have to like an album comes out, you have 48 hours to buy it. It's all 4 times has been the exact same album to our knowledge, except you get one different song, but you have to pay separate shipping on all 4. Yeah, it's wild. No other differences. I think maybe you get some collective photos or something, but
like, so you
whatever.
But I'm pretty sure it's like buying the record, right? You have to buy like the record or the CD or the cassette tape.
Yeah, I don't get the cassette thing at all, but yes.
It's not like you're buying the digital copies.
Right.
So you're buying the record, which yes, I have a record player. Do you think I'm just like, yeah, I actually used to listen to my record player all the time, but I don't just pull out the record player to play the album. And what am I going to play it for this one song,
Right.
which
I assume you're gonna
League,
like one of the four the most, right? So
yeah, but come on.
yeah, I think it's a little I don't know what to call it, like a money grab, which is weird thing to say because she has so much money and like
That's
isn't
where
like
I'm like,
that.
is it a money grab? Because she surely doesn't need it. But
Right.
then I had said, is it people are buying more copies, so then it makes her higher on the charts? Like it shows that
Oh.
X amount of albums were bought because people had to buy four variations of the same damn thing.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Like, that's really smart because it's the same, it all counts probably towards the same like album
Right.
sale.
Right.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, and then like I'm over here, I'm not buying an album. I don't have a record player. I'm not buying a CD. I sure as whatever, I'm not buying a cassette.
Correct.
So I'm gonna get them all for free on Spotify. I hope. I mean, unless like something crazy happens.
Right. So
I just
I
why?
mean, I did like the digital download, whatever on Apple Music. And then I did
Yep.
the record because I do buy like like I do have all of her records, but half of them I
Yeah.
have now that I barely use my record player, they're not even open. So I'm not gonna buy four. She did this for Midnights too. And remember, you could buy
Yes.
four and then they would make a clock.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
Cool.
like, it was one record, whatever, made four squares, and then it made a clock.
Yes.
And you could buy like the clock piece to make it a clock. But I don't
Oh,
have the
that's
wall
cool.
for that.
No.
So I don't know. That's my
Also, like, what are you gonna put your record in if the record case is on the wall?
well, I think you can still well, Ashton has her little record player and has uses the records as like decoration on the wall. And
Oh, that's
then
cool.
for like seasons, she like switches them out and like puts Christmas ones up and stuff. So it's kind of cute.
Cute.
But
Cute.
I just don't have a space to do that. So
No.
and I'm not buying the same record four times.
No. No. Absolutely not. At full price, like the whole thing. Yeah, no.
Bizarre.
We have a lot to unpack with Taylor. Maybe we should do like a Taylor bonus episode for people who care enough because we also have like the weird double reputation tracks situation that happened
It's
earlier this week. And what else? What are the other like crazy
the
clown
Eras
car moments?
the Eras movie coming on Disney Plus, and at the end of the caption they put watch the whole thing, and I'm like, why is there a bunch of S's?
Yeah, I a lot of people are speculating that means Rep is coming to Disney Plus, which you called first. They are also releasing the Eras Tour at 9 p.m. instead of midnight, and the
Wait,
Eras Tour is about 3 hours. So,
what's happening at midnight?
what's happening at
But
midnight?
also, why would she? So people are speculating that it's because she's dropping Reputation at midnight. But why would she drop Reputation a month before a brand new album? And like,
Right. Because she's nuts, because she can.
yeah, I know, but I just feel like then it would take away from like the hype of
Totally. Totally
the.
agree. I think it would be a dumb move, but
Well, it doesn't matter though because people bought Tortured Poets Department four times.
exactly. That is so funny. We will spare the people at home who don't care about Taylor. Although if you don't care about Taylor and you're still listening, you're an amazing and true fan.
We appreciate you.
Yes.
All right, what did you
Um,
do this week?
I have just a couple interesting things to share. Number one, I watched Strange World for the first time. Do you even know what that is?
No.
Okay, it's on Disney Plus. It's a movie that came out like, I don't know, maybe last year. I had never heard of it. I knew nothing about it. Like literally nothing. And I live in the parks. And we had a friend in town on Friday and he mentioned it. And I was like, oh, I guess we'll watch that, whatever. Watched it. It was really cute. I'm not going to say it's like the best Disney movie I've ever seen, but it was like pretty cute. It had beautiful animation,
So it's
a
animated.
cute, it's animated. It has like a cute story. The basic premise is like, it's like a father son situation, and like the son rebukes his father because he wants to be like a better dad than his dad was to him, and there's like adventure that ensues and like whatever. It's a big adventure movie. It's very sweet. There are a couple moments that I think are probably controversial, which is why I assume it didn't do well or why we didn't talk about it before. But there's like one of the kids is gay, and what's the other thing? I don't even remember. There are
Sound-
some like what?
It sounds like that other movie.
Luca?
No, when they're like blue little dudes.
Oh, I haven't seen that one either, but I know which one you're talking about.
I might be wrong that it sounds like that, but that was like a dad situation too.
Yeah, the dad. Oh, yeah, and that one, like the dad is dead or something, but they
Yeah,
like onward, upward,
yeah.
onward,
Onward. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch that one next. But this one was really cute. I really liked it. I don't know. Adrian thought it was kind of boring, but
Okay. Is it a like Disney Plus exclusive situation?
yeah, I guess it came to theaters and like tanked.
Oh, so it's
So
in theaters.
I think I didn't do that much research into it, so I don't want to lie about what I
Fair.
know, but I know it's on Disney Plus. It's never even advertised to me on Disney Plus though. Like I had to like search
Here.
for it. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like a big waste of money for them to produce like a fully animated film and like not even talk about it.
Yeah, very much so.
And like if the problem was, for example, that there's like a gay couple or whatever,
Well,
that didn't they know that up front?
but also we have bigger problems than if
We
that is
definitely have
commercial issue.
totally. Yes. We definitely have bigger problems if that's the problem. But if that was the problem, like it wasn't like the animators like snuck that in the 11th hour. Like I'm
I
sure it was known, heavily discussed, like all those things.
if that's the problem, then honestly, they should be marketing it more.
So I reached out to our friend Kate about it because she is our Disney expert, and she mentioned that the reviews were going so poorly on Rotten Tomatoes that they had to shut down reviews on the movie. Like nobody's allowed to talk about it. Good, bad, indifferent, no.
Okay, I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah, you need to watch it just for the scandal. Like, what's the story here?
Seriously, that's what I'm saying.
Um, while I was at Epcot on Friday and I learned about Strange World, I also got to do a little flower and garden.
I am so jealous.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I only tried one booth, which was Brunch Cot, because I like saved my trips for going with Victoria. But I tried the avocado toast,
Yeah.
overrated,
Oh,
and it was like a, you know how you can buy like pre-made guac and it's like just not the
uh,
same.
yeah.
It was like that. But we did also have the cinnamon roll bites.
Those sound good.
They were super good. I don't know why they put bacon on them, but otherwise they were pretty good.
And is it like a candied bacon or just like straight bacon?
I don't even know that. It was like little baby specks of bacon, like bacon sprinkles.
People think that bacon needs to be on everything, and I'm just not on that boat.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, while we were there, I was talking to my friend's friend about what drink she wanted, whatever, and I was suggesting like, oh, there's the honey booth over here. Maybe you would like the
Yeah.
honey drink. I don't know a lot about it, but it's usually pretty good. And this man turns around and is like, oh, the honey booth. So good. The drink this year is like such and such. It has a such and such crumble on top, this and that, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And he, I notice, has a lanyard on and he like works there. So, of course, I'm like engaging, like, what else do you think? What? And he's in like plain clothes, right? So, he's some sort of like higher up person.
Yeah.
Um, what else? And he starts telling me about all this crazy stuff. There's like a new soft serve at that new, what's it called? Like swirling, shimmering swirls or something, the new ice cream place at Epcot. I don't even think you've been here since it opened,
I know.
where the temporary Starbucks was. Um,
Okay.
it's an ice cream place, which is great, but like one of the options was like cherry something swirl with a hard seltzer in it. And he was like,
Wow.
yeah, I just thought, like, my team brought me this hard seltzer and asked me what to do with it. And I thought this and that go together great, blah, blah, blah. Just like when I thought about what new popcorn bucket we wanted, I decided definitely we should invent the Figment popcorn bucket. And I'm like, who are you?
What?
So I had no idea who he was, but his name is Rick. And of course, I made him take a photo with me because I was like, you're probably famous and I don't know who you are. But he said he has, in some capacity, like oversees all the festivals in some, I don't know if it's just
So
food or what.
he never really told you who he was.
No, I mean, he said, like, I oversee all the festivals, but
You
I
should have
don't
asked
know if
me on the podcast.
I know, I should have. People who are currently employed by Disney get real nervous about that,
Yeah,
but
probably.
which
But
is
Rick,
fair. Yeah, Rick, if you're listening, will you come on the pod? But he was so cool. I need to Google him and figure out who he is, like for real. But we met Rick, who's apparently the guy.
all right, go Rick.
Yeah, it was a cool meet after our food episode last week
Right?
because
Yeah.
I was like,
Full
wait,
circle.
are you like part of this? Were you on the episode of Behind the Attraction? Like, do we know you? But anyway, he
That's
said
really cool.
a new food show is coming, so stay tuned.
New food. Oh, a new food show like on Disney
Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah, like
Cool.
an episode or something that he may or may not be in.
So like a food festival show.
Maybe. Yeah, let's
That
hope.
would be up my alley.
Same. Same, same, same. And then I just wanted to quickly mention that last week, as you know, I did some updates to our YouTube.
Ooh.
So please
Yeah,
go hang out on our YouTube. We really need you there. And we like kind of we've been on, but not so much. We kind of made like our re-debut on TikTok.
I know. This is like really cool that you figured out how to do that and now we can post little clips there on the TikTok.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a cool way to connect with people. Um, our follower group like came through. I posted like, please come hang out with us on TikTok, and then my phone was like, new follower, new follower, new
Oh
follower,
my
new
god.
follower. I was like,
Love
yes.
it.
So that was pretty great.
That is great. We love our little pod community
We have the crowd, and
for doing all that.
oh, of course. And then I also on my own page posted like a general question about Disneyland, and so many people replied like, "Please share the answers. Please tell us what you know, whatever." So I think that coming up soon here, I have a guest lined up that is a Disneyland pro.
Love this.
Yeah, and she's gonna like give us some tips because you and I have been there a few times, and like I know some generalities, but she mentioned like one of the things she mentioned is that Carthay Circle, the restaurant,
Mhm.
is very like historically based, has like a lot of Disney history in it.
I kind of feel like I assumed that, but I never knew about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I've never even gone in. I just thought it was like a fancy, sit
I
down, whatever. Okay. Do you
that's
like
all I
it?
Yeah, I did like it. I did like it was like a show. I ate there and then got to see Frozen. It was like one of those dining packages.
Nice. Uh,
And
Shout
yeah,
out to that Frozen show. That was so good.
incredible.
Um, but she said at least before the pandemic, they would like before opening do a little tour through the restaurant and show you
Oh,
like historical facts and whatever. I was like, how would you have ever known that?
that's really cool.
Yeah, so stay tuned for a Disneyland episode.
Okay, cool. And then we can know all the things before we go in September.
Yes, I can't wait.
Maybe I should talk to mom downstairs about our costumes.
Yeah, we got to think of something. I mean, obviously it's gonna be Chip and Dale something, but like what something?
Do
So
they do like Halloween parties in Disneyland?
for sure. And I maybe like imagining this, but I feel like you and I were pretty jealous of their costume Halloween costumes like
Yeah,
last year.
they were skeleton bats.
Yeah, I want to be
They
the
had
bat. I feel like I'm the skeleton.
No, I thought we were twins.
Oh, we're both skeleton bats?
Yeah, I thought.
Oh, I gotta
And
Google
like
that. I'm
with
down for that.
with an accent of purple. I've heard that it's just really hard to get like Disneyland like party tickets. Like I know that they do the Oogie Boogie Bash, and I don't know if that is
The
the
same as a Halloween party?
or if they do both, or I
I
guess we
don't know
need
either.
a land expert.
We also like should maybe be considering booking those if they exist in September because like we gotta go to the party if we're there.
Oh, obviously, but I'm also
Yeah.
wondering if we're already on sale. Maybe not. We're still a little far
No,
out.
it's yeah, it's pretty early. I feel
We
like
need to,
that's like a
um, I also read a fun fact that I don't know if this is true.
okay.
This is, I saw somewhere. Remember when we were talking about tours a couple weeks ago? The
Yep.
VIP tours that are $5 bajillion. I read somewhere that if you're in Club 33, you get like one of those a year
More than one, and
or two
yes.
thing. Yeah.
I think it's like a lot, like maybe five.
Who?
Yeah, I so my former boss just got accepted into Club 33 and was telling me some of the pretty cool, unique
Or
benefits, but that was one of them. Yeah.
so interesting. So that must be how like people do these. I can't imagine because the price that you looked up, remember, it was absolutely outrageous. So that
Yeah,
makes sense. But anyways,
it is. It's crazy. Maybe one day. I know Brooke, Bippity Boppity Brooke, just did a VIP tour for her like insiders group.
I saw that. Very cool.
Yeah, seemed so cool. So maybe that's something we can aspire to one day.
Yeah, because there was like a ton of them. So I'm sure it probably,
I don't think they paid. I think she paid.
well, we don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know that, but KG is in her group, so
Oh, okay.
we kind of know that.
All right.
Anyway, what are we going to talk about today?
We're talking about the abandoned park at Disney World. Ooh.
Woo! What's it called?
Um, what is it called? I already
Stop
forget.
it! Get out of here!
I
It's
know
called River
River
Country.
River Country. I knew that.
Yes,
Literally just watched all the videos you made me watch. Um, I knew that. Just go because I'm don't want to say things that you're already planning on saying, and then I'll just interrupt you when I have my thoughts.
that was literally hilarious. You're like, I don't know what it's called.
But I
Um,
oh
I know you do. Okay, so today we're going to talk about River Country. And River Country is a water park that was on Walt Disney World property. It was one of the OG attractions back in the day. It opened on June 20th of 1976.
so real
And yeah,
like
the real old.
yeah, but also like right after Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, right after Magic Kingdom. Basically, the only things open on property were the Magic Kingdom, the Contemporary, the Polynesian, uh, Fort Wilderness, which I guess Walt was like super into camping or something. That's why that started, and then it ended up being very popular.
Yes, and I did not know that that was like that old.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
then it's just basically a campground, easy
Eh,
peasy.
exactly, exactly. But it was super popular. It was probably the most popular lodging option back then. And they decided to add on River Country, which is the water park we're going to talk about today. And they also added on Discovery Island, which is another abandoned Disney park.
Which I did not do research on that one.
No, we'll talk about that another time.
Okay, cool.
If people think this is interesting, I think this is fascinating because basically the TLDR on this, the too long didn't read, is Disney invented this water park. It was a banger. It shut down. They left it there.
Literally.
And like I don't understand. There's a lot of unknowns. Um, but it's just like a crazy piece of Disney lore.
But also, I mean, you have pointed it out to me many times. You can see it. on the boat from Fort Wilderness to Magic Kingdom.
Well, not anymore, but yes.
You used to.
You used it for a long time. You could see it. It was just like right there.
And a lot of the times, I know that a lot of times when I've taken the boat from Fort Wilderness, which is not often, but sometimes you can get a really good like captain of your boat, and they'll point out that to you and like say tell you some like cool history on it. So
Yes. Definitely worth looking to your left if you are on your way to the Magic Kingdom from Fort Wilderness. It used to be like unmissable because
yeah,
basically the premise of this water park was it was like a natural lake fed filtered water park. So it was made to look like very natural part of the landscape. And they were filtering the water and it basically had like an invisible edge. So it looked like part of the lake,
yeah,
but they were
because
cleaning it.
I was looking at the pictures and stuff. Where are the alligators?
Yeah, I have like a lot of questions about this whole thing. The 70s must have been a wild time. Like,
Because they built it into the lake basically,
yeah. So,
but
and
they're
the
saying
only go
that
ahead.
filtered water, so I have to assume there was a barrier.
Yes. So there was a barrier and they made it like intentionally higher than the lake because they didn't want flooding from the lake to come into the filtered water.
Okay, so that's also supposed to prevent alligators from like climbing up.
I guess, but like alligators can be found here in literally like a puddle. So I
Or
don't,
did they like not really know how alligators worked back then?
yeah, or maybe there like wasn't such an alligator problem.
And
I really don't know.
you researched more of this than I did. I watched like 3 TikToks and I'm here to talk about it. But nowhere on the TikToks was there a mention of alligators.
I haven't actually heard anything about alligators in any of my research.
Do we not find this like the craziest thing ever?
Yeah,
It was
I do not
muddy
know.
water where alligators live.
I mean, and we have alligators here. I'm telling you, like, we have fenced off retention ponds, like chain link fence, and there are alligators in them. So is the alligator like climbing the chain link fence? Are they climbing in through the pipes? Like, I don't know.
It gives me the heebie-jeebies, but I
Yeah,
just have questions of
of alligators.
the alligators at the water park.
Same. Um, okay, so the theme and the vibe of River Country was very much like Tom Sawyer-esque. It was like adventure, whatever. The catchphrase was the greatest water adventure of all.
Okay.
And I'm gonna play you their little jingle, okay?
Oh, I'm excited. We can't hear it. We cannot hear it.
Stop it. Great. Well, I played the song. Maybe it's so copyright restricted that my microphone won't pick it up.
That's too funny.
It's a great song.
Okay.
It's a water jamboree. If you're hot around the collar, it's a cool place to be.
Wait, if you're hot around the collar.
Yeah, it's a cool place to be. It's not like the most old-timey phrasing you've ever heard in your life.
I love it.
You can find it on YouTube if you want to
Okay.
listen to it. Great. I enjoyed listening to it by myself here just now.
You really did. If you're watching on YouTube, you could have seen how much you really enjoyed that.
I really did. Okay. Here are some unique facts about River Country. It accepted 4,700 guests. That was capacity. And
At once.
at once, yeah,
Okay.
like at any given time. And for comparison to 4,000, let's just say 5,000 guests, Magic Kingdom can reportedly hold over 100,000 guests.
Oh, I've been there when there's 100,000 guests.
Same.
It's not.
Absolutely same. Yeah, I don't love it then at all. Ooh. But this was like a little
This is,
baby thing.
yes.
Very small. Um, the main attraction at this place at River Country was the old fashioned swimming hole that
With
is
alligators.
with the
Probably.
alligators and the amoebas, which we'll get to later.
Yes.
Um, was filtered lake water. It had a sand bottom and like artificial rocks that, like Imagineering style rocks to make it look like very natural, built in with the surroundings, like all part of a vibe.
And
Um,
when you say filtered lake water, we're talking that it was straight up the lake water and it was like mucky and like it looked like a lake. We're not talking this like crystal blue Castaway Key water. We're
yeah,
talking mucky lake brown water.
so it's funny you mentioned that. There was another pool on property at River Country that was like crystal clear blue filtered lake water or filtered regular water.
Pool water.
So they have that option, but yeah, the main big attraction pool with like the slides and all the stuff was filtered lake water, and it was definitely dingy. And in fact, there I read some like interviews with former lifeguards there, and they said that like that was one of the hardest parts about being a lifeguard is because you couldn't see the bottom because it was like murky, so you couldn't
Yeah.
tell if somebody was like drowning.
Which, like, spoiler is one of the rumors why it's closed.
Right. We lost two different kids, two different time periods in the bottom of that lake pool, swimming hole, which I
Do we know
assume was. Go ahead.
do we know that for sure?
I mean, I didn't look up an autopsy report, but there were like dates listed with both. So two
I mean,
separate
it's
drownings, and then there was also an amoeba situation, which we'll get to.
yes,
But yeah, allegedly drownings. Even if that's not true, I could see how it would be very hard to see people in that environment.
correct.
Like very dangerous. Um, some of the main attractions in the big pool and in the park in general, there was a whitewater rapids, which was like a simulation of a whitewater rapids situation, right? Like a fast moving body of water. It was a 330-foot winding path with sudden drops.
I would not go on it.
I would go on that maybe, but that's probably the only one.
Okay.
Also, there were chlorinated pools, like I said, there were volleyball courts. The main pool had two slides that, like, again, the 70s, you would like shoot off the edge and then like free fall into the lake.
Yeah.
Like, would never happen today.
No. No.
But they existed. There were something called boom swings and tire swings, and there was like a T drop. So basically, you could like walk yourself out over a monkey bar and then like drop yourself in, or you could
Yeah.
tire swing out into the lake.
The setup
Very,
looked like what your probably dream summer camp would look like.
exactly. Yes. Perfect. Perfect description. Very much summer camp vibes, and I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
Um, when it opened, I mentioned the only things open were really the Magic Kingdom and a couple of hotels. You could buy a combination ticket for River Country and Discovery Island. I think it was under $10, which like is no money, but also that was indicative of the period of time.
Right. But still.
But
What a time.
still, yeah, what a time! Like wow. Um, basically, one of the biggest things that defeated River Country in the end, in my opinion, was the introduction of Typhoon Lagoon in 1989.
Okay.
And then Blizzard Beach was 1995.
I mean, it was open for like a long time.
Yeah, so River Country went from 1976 to 2001.
Like, I mean, I was 10 years old. I could have went.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like
Let
maybe
us
we
know.
were there.
Let us know in the podcast group if you were somebody who went.
Oh yeah, if you ever saw this in real life, like when it was open, I need details.
Same. Was there alligators?
Was there alligators? Are you okay? Like lots of questions.
Do you have the anema?
Do you have the amoeba? Yeah. That is hilarious. Um, so Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach opened, and they both were like definitely more modern water parks. They didn't do any of this filtered lake nonsense. They were like clean blue water with chlorine, as we know and love today. They were much bigger. They had a bigger capacity. Um,
More
that
attraction.
more attractions. Yeah, just like a definitely a different vibe. So to me, basically Disney like stuck their proverbial toe in the water of water parks with River Country, and then they like got bigger and better as the Florida project that we know as Walt Disney World today grew and evolved and had success. Um, I don't have a date for this, but at some point there was a total ban put out on swimming in Disney lakes. So
Of alligators.
right, because of like all of the many dangers. Um, and also that park relied on unheated water.
Oh,
Like they couldn't heat the
like,
pretend lake. Yeah.
yeah,
So that caused a lot of problems with like closure, like when they could be open and all that kind of stuff, which makes sense.
that does make sense. Yeah,
And that's not something you could just like upgrade, right?
I
Like
would.
it's a natural body of water. You can't like add a, I don't think. I don't know. They could filter it, I guess, so maybe they could heat it.
Who knows, right?
We will never know. Um, so River Country was open for 25 years. They closed on November 2nd, 2001. Um, Despite that, the pools, the blue pools, like the non-river bottom one, remained chlorinated until 2003, which I think is very interesting.
Well, okay, hold on. So it closed in 2001, but when it closed, it wasn't announced that it was permanently closed, correct?
Yeah, I don't have those notes, but you're right. They announced like their seasonal closure, like it's
Yeah.
going to be winter, will be reopened in the spring, whatever. And then they just like never reopened. There was an article in the Sentinel at some point that a Disney spokesperson said, if there was enough interest, we
Yeah.
will reopen River Country. And then a few years later, it was like officially done.
Which must have, so that I'm just wondering if the chlorine pool, if that they were keeping it going because it was like never truly closed.
Right, right. Definitely could be. There's also the argument about mosquitoes because when you have like a still body of water, you
Mhm.
get a lot of mosquitoes, and I assume chlorine helps with that.
That makes sense.
So that kind of makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me at all is the lights at night and the music were still operational. So how do we know that? People who are very, very bad that now have lifetime bans from Disney snuck in to the park when it was blocked off. So they were illegally trespassing behind gates. That being said, the videos are fascinating and I highly suggest that you go watch them all on YouTube. Just search abandoned river country. There's a plethora of them. There are people who have gone multiple times.
But they will never step foot on Disney property again.
Yeah, they're done. They are done.
So don't,
Um,
but
yeah, so don't do it. But their videos were like actually pretty insane.
it's
So
creepy.
it's totally creepy. Like the banjo music is playing over the speakers. The lights are on, even though like nobody's home. There are still like towels in the towel window. The bathrooms are operational. Like it's still, it looks like people just like didn't come for the day.
Yeah, the videos that I was watching said that cast members like still had stuff in there that they're
Yeah,
planning on like going back to get. Like all pool
yeah,
floors were still there,
yes.
just like shut down, and that was it.
Yeah, very ominous. Just like,
And
what is happening?
I mean, besides like the specific facts that you're stating of like when it opened and when it closed and that there was a filtered water and blah blah blah, a lot of this stuff is just like facts and information that people have gotten, you know,
Illegally.
come out. It's not, it was never like like, I just feel like Disney has never come out and really like spoke about this abandoned park.
Yeah, there's no like official Disney provided literature about why they did this, what
Yeah.
the reasoning was, any of that aside from the spokesperson that just said like we're not going to reopen. Um, but even then, they don't specifically attribute the closure to the deaths that we heard about or to lack of attendance,
Mhm.
which they talk about like after September 11th, for example, that was a big time that tourism took a dip. So
Right.
just like hard to stay open and maintain three water parks when nobody's coming.
Right.
Um, but they've never specifically said any of that.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah, totally bizarre. Um,
It makes
what?
me
Go ahead.
that there was like big plans for that area that just like kind of kept falling through.
Well, we're gonna get to that. Yes.
And that's why nothing has ever been said.
Yeah. So there was at one point like documents filed or plans made for a moderate resort that was going to be built on that land. And
Yes.
well, there's been like a lot of incarnations of this plan. So first it was going to be like a moderate, and there was in the drawings some indication that they were going to keep and expand river country. There was like a little additional area. Presumably that would be essentially that resort's pool.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Would just be like a super nice pool. I mean, super nice in quotes. I would never go there, but
Of course.
very advanced.
Yeah.
Um, but that tanked or didn't happen. Um, then, excuse me, the park Disney announced in 20. Okay, let's go back a minute. Um, back when it was abandoned, while they were making these random announcements and stuff that new things were going to be developed there, they just put up like a fence around river country and they didn't even rope off the whole park. They only roped off the pools.
So weird.
So weird. They used like the ticket booth for river country became the entrance for Mickey's backyard barbecue, which was like a little hoedown situation you could go to at Fort Wilderness, like a meal.
Mhm.
But unlike my experiences today of when construction is happening at Disney, you can't see through the walls. Like
No, they
it's a
like,
wall.
or they move like plants for crying out
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
Like,
Like it's very extreme. They definitely don't want you to see what's happening.
right.
Over here, it was like some mesh netting thrown up around the fence area. There were big gaps in the fence, big enough, obviously, that people snuck in.
Look
But
through.
also, yeah, people who were like good Samaritans would look through, like to see.
Yeah.
So that was like a big draw to me of the Mickey's Backyard Barbecue is you were essentially like eating and drinking at the picnic tables of River Country.
Without river country.
Without River Country, without the water park, but like you could look out and see it, which is nuts.
Right.
Um, as far back as I can remember, as 2014, you could still see River Country from the boats.
Yes.
So I mean, like clear as day, literal slides, rope swing, like all of it was very visible, very obvious. From the water side, there was nothing done to hide what you were looking at.
No. It looked like, I mean, it was straight up an abandoned water park.
Yeah,
Like,
because it was like green and algae and
yeah,
gross.
it was wild. They just like left it there.
Yeah, I Wild to me. Wild. Okay, so we talked about after it closed, they did this like moderate resort suggestion that ended up falling through. Then in 2017, Disney filled that main pool with sand.
Okay.
And then in 2018, they announced Reflections, which was going to
That's
be like, yeah, the one you're thinking of. It was going to
yeah.
be like a DVC type resort. There was going to be a lot of callbacks to animals that are famous in Disney film. Bambi, Pocahontas, Brother Bear, I think was mentioned. Just like
Okay.
any naturey type movie, they were gonna throw some IP into this
The
lodge themed.
the mock-up drawing of it looked beautiful.
It looked absolutely beautiful. Some of the rumors or whatever that I've read online are that when this project was scrapped, they by 2019 they had dismantled River Country completely and planned on starting Reflections, and then 2020 happened.
And we all know it.
So yeah, like everything, major halt here and
Right.
around the world, obviously. Um, so that was halted, but people online say that a lot of the concept art that was drawn and developed for Reflections is now being used for the Polynesian for the
Oh,
new DVC resort.
I was thinking you were going to say some of that concept art kind of went into the new cabins at Fort Wilderness because I kind of see that vibe.
I see that vibe too. It's very like modern chic wilderness.
Yes.
It's not like a lodge vibe at all. Like Wilderness Lodge is like tree trunks, stumps,
Log cabins,
log cabin. The new DVC resorts at Fort Wilderness are very like clean, modern,
which
nice.
is the vibe I got out of that drawing for.
Yeah. I am sad that Reflections never came to fruition because it did look beautiful, and like who doesn't want a Pocahontas restaurant?
And yeah, exactly.
But people say that a lot of the architectural elements can be seen. And I don't know, the DVC for the Floridian, the new stuff is still underway. So we don't know.
So maybe.
Maybe. Um, just to wrap it up, the rumors of closure, we talked about the two deaths related to drowning. And then there was also a death related to a quote unquote brain eating amoeba. The specific name of the amoeba was listed. I don't understand anything about science, amoebas, how they work, what happened, but basically somebody had a bad day at a water park. Um,
In the
so
filtered water.
in the filtered water, that death with the amoeba was like, I think in the 80s. So River Country stayed open for a long time after that happened, which led me to believe maybe it wasn't related.
That's what yeah, that one, but also the quote unquote drownings. That's why I questioned it earlier because those happened, though it didn't like those didn't happen and then the park closed. Like those happened years before, right?
Right, exactly, right.
It's interesting.
And like we know today, people have died at Disney. I hate to break it to you, but like people die at Disney all the time.
For and not Disney's fault. Like it could be
Right, yeah, like 99.999% of them are like grandparents that are on vacation with their kids and they like die in their sleep, unfortunately, and whatever. But we have lost a couple people on like attractions and things. Um, and that's really sad, but it doesn't mean they're going to shut down Magic Kingdom.
right, right.
So I don't really, I don't know. I don't think that's why. I think it was a demand thing.
I think it's a demand thing. I think you're talking about a park that has what sounds to me like what 2 to 3 big attractions
Right,
versus other you now have 2 other water parks with a multitude of attractions for a multitude of ages,
right.
uh, not filtered like water. And so I think that's probably really what did it. And they're just so much bigger. You're talking, I mean,
Yep.
it is so, so small. To me, it almost sounds like River Country is like a really fancy pool at Disney World.
Yes.
And some of Disney parks, I mean, have pools that literally sound like this. Like the Polynesian pool, I mean,
Yeah.
you can go on a slide, you can
There's like a
walk in the
splash
water.
zone. Yeah.
Yeah, like so many other things. So I am kind of curious of why they didn't, like, I understand maybe parts of it, like the lake water situation was obviously had its issues, but the pool side of it, why they didn't maybe keep that and renovate it as the Fort Wilderness pool?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we know there is a Fort Wilderness pool already, but you can always take another.
They can, I mean,
And
yeah,
it would be prime. I would love to sit in a, I mean, I don't like water, so this is a lie, but I think it would be cool to sit next to a clean, chlorinated, regulated pool overlooking a lake.
that's what I mean. Like you have the scenery of the lake, and also I might be wrong on this, but couldn't you see like Space Mountain from there?
I don't know.
It kind of looked like that in some of the photos that I was
It
looking at.
is, yeah, it is, I mean, definitely possible.
So you have a view.
Yeah.
I just think that area could have been made for something for Fort Wilderness, and then not that they need a reason to upcharge on things, but you could have
Yeah.
charged more to stay there or whatever. And
Yeah.
this like Mickey's Backyard Barbecue, why didn't that stay? Because you that's right up the alley of Fort Wilderness.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
just weird to, I don't know. Like I'm not saying it needed to be this big grand scheme, like huge project. I just think in Disney's eyes and with Disney money, a small renovation could have gone a long way in that area.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens in the coming years because they did, like, from my understanding, they did fill in the pool, but they filled it in with sand. Well, we can move sand, right?
Right.
So is there still a plan? I don't know. I also don't know a lot about the layout and logistics of the expansion, the DVC expansion to Fort Wilderness. So maybe a lot of those are actually going in this place. I don't know that.
Well, maybe you have a better understanding of this. I couldn't fully grasp how you got there because they didn't have like a parking lot, and it looked like they eventually had like a train, and then
Yes.
it got replaced by buses. So is the only way to get there is to take a bus, which I guess that's the same as Hoop You Do.
Right. Yeah. So anything, Fort Wilderness is kind of this enigma of a property. I guess probably because most people have their own vehicle, which is rare at like a hotel or a resort. At Fort Wilderness, you have campsites,
Hmm.
which I think you can park like right by your campsite. They have
Like
RV.
one single car.
Yeah, one car, no parking lot, just like your own spot.
Yeah,
They do RVs, and obviously, if you're driving your RV, you park your RV.
and
So
stay.
that's that. And then the cabins, which also the cabins had like one singular parking spot per cabin.
Yes.
So there is the way Fort Wilderness works is there is like a lobby up front. It's like a little log cabin, and there's a parking lot up front as well. And you can pick up a golf cart. It's not that, I wouldn't say it's that big. It's not even
Yeah,
as big as like Riviera,
true.
but you can get a golf cart if you want one. And if you're like a day guest, so if you're going to Hoop De Doo or whatever, you have to get on a bus and you have to ride the bus, and that property is pretty massive. So you go through
And
like all the
huge.
cabins. Yeah, enormous. You pass the pools, you pass like a gift shop. There's that whole area where you and I have gone to the marshmallow roasting
Yep.
campfire sing along situation.
There are so many
Um,
stops. You better know your stop like as if you're on the subway. Like
100%.
you got to know what stop is yours because they're labeled like it's not labeled campfire.
Yeah, right. It's called like settlement, outpost. What are
Yeah,
these things? Nobody knows. Somebody knows. I don't know.
exactly.
It's yeah, it's a lot to sort through. And then basically the last stop, which I think is the settlement, but maybe not, is where you can find the lake. You can find Hoop-de-Doo Review. You can find Trails End.
Oh,
One gift shop. What else? I think there's like a food truck there
yeah,
sometimes.
food truck.
And
So
then that's where you get on the launch to take a boat to Magic Kingdom.
yes, so you're saying, but is that the area where River Country was?
Yes. So if you remember, when you get off the bus, you walk towards the water, and on your left is like Hoop-de-Doo and Trails End.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can keep walking. On your right is a gift shop building.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually you get to the water. Between like the end of Trails End, you can swing a left, and there's like a
Oh,
paved path. And if you walk that way, that's where Mickey's Backyard Barbecue was, and also River Country. You definitely
so
these days can't see anything there.
right,
So
but it was genuinely in that area where if it could have been something for Fort Wilderness,
definitely, I think.
or could still be.
Yeah, well, I think it's like gone now, but maybe. Yeah.
But the property itself, like the land is there.
Yes. The land is there.
And if you're staying at Fort Wilderness, you're probably going to spend time over there. We did. That's how we got to Magic Kingdom, like for the Halloween party. So you're going to be in
Definitely.
the area. So interesting.
Well, and there's even more back there too. There's like the pony rides. So there's like a circle pen where you can take your kid and pay like $5 and do a circle lap on a pony. There's also the full Tri-Circle D ranch.
Rand.
I don't even understand that. There's like an upfront barn, and there's also a barn way in the back. So they have like the big draft horses that pull the Main Street buggies or whatever they
Yeah.
are. They have hundreds, I think, of horses, like all different for all different reasons. They have like Cinderella carriage horses that are all white, and they have uh, horses you can ride for trail rides at Fort
Yeah.
Wilderness. But like lots of stuff packed in back there,
But no water park.
but no water park. I would say if you want to look into it at all today, the best thing to do would be to hop on the boat and just like really look left.
Yeah. Agreed.
And if you ask, I'm sure that your captain at least knows like generally where it is, so they can
And
give you like
sometimes,
an estimate.
yeah. And sometimes, again, they will give you some information on it.
Yeah.
And if you want to go down the rabbit hole of why this conversation started, you can do what Courtney did and start on TikTok.
Yes, I started on TikTok. Fascinated by any sort of abandoned Disney stuff. As we mentioned at the top of the episode, this is actually not the only abandoned Disney park. There's also Discovery Island, which was basically the precursor to Animal Kingdom. That one you still can see if you look right on the ferry between Fort Wilderness and the Magic Kingdom. It's literally an island. We can do an episode on it if people want to know, but the general vibe was like animals, birds, stuff like that.
Interesting.
Some urban explorers have snuck over there. Some people have camped there overnight before getting caught. I don't know why you would ever want to do that for
Yeah.
so many reasons.
Alligators.
Alligators, lifetime ban. I'd rather get munched on by an alligator than the lifetime ban from Disney.
Same.
Like, come on. But
Take my arm, but don't take my hand.
take my arm, leave my pass. But it exists. I think it's awesome. It's also not the only abandoned theme park in Orlando.
Oh.
So I've gone down that rabbit hole too. There was this place called Splendid China. That could be like 10 episodes, but basically the Chinese government, under the guise of like an independent company, built like a giant theme park in the middle of a residential area. Nobody came, chaos ensued. It was not a theme park with attractions. It basically was like scale miniatures of like historical Chinese buildings and stuff. So it was like a museum kind of thing. Wild. And then that remained, it had like koi ponds and beautiful. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful things obviously about China, and they tried to showcase some of that, but there was like controversy because they had like a Tibet exhibit. Tibet is highly controversial. Um, but they just like let it go, left it sitting there in the middle of a residential area. Kids would like sneak in and skateboard there, um, crazy stuff. And now Margaritaville's there,
Oh,
but it sat abandoned for like a long time.
so interesting.
Yeah, so I don't understand a lot of it. I think it was worth like many millions when they built it, and then when they closed, it was worth like a fraction
I
of
wonder what
that.
Margaritaville bought it for.
Yeah, I would love to know what Margarita bought it for. Margaritaville bought it for. What kind of restoration or renovation they had to do. How many little buildings they had to knock down. Like
How many creatures they found?
how many creatures they found. Um, yeah, wild. The concept to me of abandoning a theme park
Yeah.
is wild. And like back to Disney, I don't know. I know the times are different today than they were then, but like today, I think there are people who again would give their right arm to have some piece of like river country memorabilia, even if they never went there.
Oh yeah.
Like you could have sold those pool towels for a lot of money.
I know, but I guess it's because they like truly didn't think it was like closing down. That's just like the weird part. I don't know.
Yeah, I just wild times.
Very.
So
But
that's
yeah,
river country.
if you have been there, please let us know in the Facebook group.
Yes, need to know if you have like tickets or some kind of map situation in your collection of old paperwork.
There's,
We want to see it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask my
Uh,
grandparents if they went.
yeah, ask them if they went. The whole thing's fascinating to me. I can't get enough.
Very cool.
Definitely go on YouTube, watch the videos of the urban explorers. I learned the term urban explorers
Yeah,
this week.
and listen
Um,
to the theme song.
yeah, listen to the theme song. It's a great, it's a hoot, it's a holler. And let us know what you think. And if you want a river or a Discovery Island episode, let us know. Um, again, please come hang out with us on YouTube and
TikTok.
TikTok. I also made us an Instagram. There's not anything on it, but like, feel free to come give us a follow. We just wanted to make sure nobody else got it.
Fair enough. Thanks for all you did, and thanks for all this research you did on river country.
Of course, it's fascinating, and the more I know, the more I want to know. So,
I I agree. I
yeah.
agree. Very cool. All right. Well,
Well, we did
we'll,
it.
we'll chat next week.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.